I believe it's over to you now, isn't it?
It is, yeah, absolutely. So we've actually got a new feature here on Chaos TV, and this summer we'll be handing over to a programme to a very good friend, Helen Tite, and some of her fantastic friends from across Cornwall and beyond in a dedicated show discussing the topics affecting women. To tell us more about this and what we can expect, very, very pleased to have Helen back with us today. Hello.
Hello, how you doing, handsome?
Oh, do you know what? It's lovely to see. I love. Where are you sat? Is this your home office?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it's rather lovely.
And I have to say, I copied you guys, so I also have the desk that goes up and down. So I'm very envious of yours. So I invested in one myself. I love my standing desk, but this is my home office. Yes.
I don't know about everyone else. I've just got my laptop and I just kind of wiggle around wherever I can fit in.
Well, do you know what? We got 4 adults here. So during lockdown, we gave up our office. So my husband came home for the first time since 2008. Not literally, but he's never worked at home full time. So he's always been away. So he moved into my home office. Then I moved into wherever there was space. And then we were volunteering for you guys. So literally we would be doing talks in one corner and then switching over and doing fitness in the next corner. So my house just became this working hub of energy and craziness. So there are desks everywhere now as a legacy of the lockdowns.
First question, and the most important question for today, is are you a dunker or are you not a dunker?
Oh, I'm such a dunker.
Yes.
I saw that and it was like, and there's got to be a time limit. But I have to say, I lived in America and I introduced drinking Cadbury's chocolate fingers to my American friends. So the perfect chocolate finger, you nip off the top and tail and then you suck the tea up through the chocolate finger and then you got to flip it back and catch it and then eat it, and it's like heaven.
I was just discussing this with Pudge. I've used to do that with penguin biscuits as well.
Oh, it's just the right consistency, isn't it?
Yeah. Terrible. Literally, I've banned myself from having biscuits in a home because I used to have like 7 rich teas in one cup of tea to dunk all at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, ooh.
I know.
Oh, that's efficient.
Well,
yeah.
Exactly. I used to go through like 2 entire packs of rich tea each time I went. Anyway. So who are you and what do you do?
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm Helen Tite. That's Tit with an E, Tite, and I turn 50 next week. I'm obsessed with health and well-being. It has been my second career. My first career, I was an interior designer, and basically, I love talking and presenting and working around fitness and well-being and inspiring others, being motivational. So I have travelled the world talking around the subject of well-being. I've run my own health club. I love teaching fitness. I've taught pretty much every format of fitness that is inside a studio, from the Les Mills programs right the way through to freestyle, except Tai Chi. I used to say and yoga. I'm currently training to be a yoga teacher. And I support women. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I'm going to say nutshell. It's much bigger than a nutshell. But actually, later years, pretty much, I say later years, most of my career in fitness and well-being has certainly been around supporting people who are on the fringe. So in terms of women, it will be women who are struggling with body confidence, people who've got chronic health conditions, those that are not so engaged with their health and well-being these days. And my role and the role of the people I work with is to support people to live the best life they can. So that's me.
Well,
and
actually,
that's why I
Helen-
flipping love you guys so much.
Well, Helen, actually talking about that, your business, I Care, I Move, kind of stands for change and empowerment, which clearly kind of is part of your core values. How does that kind of build into what else you're doing?
Well, I have two daughters, and my youngest was studying at GCSEs, and she came home and told me that I was a feminist, and I was like, oh, and I didn't really understand the term at the time. It turns out I am a feminist. I'm not a man hater. That's not it at all. But I do support women and their values. And as I've grown in business and in experience, I have learnt that I wish there was someone like me to support others. And that's pretty much what I do. So it might be somebody who's setting up a business, or it might be somebody who's gone through a divorce, or somebody who simply just lost their way because of their health and menopause. And I seem to be that go-to girl to help them through those challenging times. Turns out it's coaching. And so it just now has a name to it. But yeah, it's kind of, I'm like that cheerleader. And I don't have to lead from the front. I never have to do that. It is the Helen Tite show, but it's not supposed to be the Helen Tite show. But I can be wherever you want me to be, just to guide you through tough times and wonderful times. Celebrate the good too. So, and I really, as much as I work with men, I love working with women, and from a really authentic place, and seeing some tremendous change in the women that I work with.
Well, from what you're doing, it kind of connects so powerfully with everything that Chaos does, and with what we do with Pride, because just kind of thinking about the social inequalities and the impacts across women is just phenomenal still.
Yeah, and particularly the older woman. So we do a lot of work with organisations who are really sort of like flying the flag in terms of diversity and inclusivity, and yet there is this huge void around the ageing workplace, the ageing female, and the menopause, which isn't a condition, it's simply a change of her anatomy. But comes with it is a lot of health changes that really impact the workplace, and we just don't talk about it because it's taboo. And we don't talk about it because in the old days women never lived long enough to have symptoms. So yeah, women are definitely, you know, we started making the change 103 years ago, and we've still got a lot to do. Just like the Pride, you know, there's sort of huge amount of stuff to move forward with, but change is happening, and that's a really good thing, right?
No, it is. It's really, really, really exciting. And Woman's Hour is going to be starting next week. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, well, as I say, I've done so much work for women, and me and my bestie, who also works with me and Pat Taylor, the amount of times we sit around the table swigging coffee or wine or cocktails or
cocktail?
gin. I'm into the espresso martini.
Yes. Fantastic.
Very good. Excellent cocktail. So we sit around the table so many times, and we get on our soapboxes and, you know, start fighting the world and dialing up our feelings about things. And so many times over the years we've gone, why on earth don't we televise this? Why don't we do a show about it? And this isn't just about well-being. It's about, here's one. This one happened today. This is, we can't remember stringing a sentence together. So because we work together, Pat knows what I mean when I say, you know, the Udemy flip, that thingy, and then she goes, oh, I know that thing, and I'll go, yeah, that one, and we've already known because there's some kind of telepathy that goes on. Now this is the thing, is it just females, or is it the people you work with? I don't know, but we have telepathy, and it's magic. It's also a bit of a pain when you're trying to give a presentation around female health and empowerment, and you can't actually remember the word empowerment.
It becomes thingamabob.
That's been a challenge too. So Women's Hour is a little bit of everything. We want fun. We want normal, right? Because, you know, the bottom line is it's the human side of life, isn't it? We need to talk about the stuff that really goes on. So we want to make it fun. But we also want to be provocative. We want to bring up conversations that are challenging and are still considered maybe taboo or risque. And we definitely want to come back to well-being each time, because that's such a big part of what I do and what I can offer. And we've got lovely guests that we want to bring on online as well, that have great stories and are inspirational people, and not just women.
Well, I was going to say it's quite interesting actually, because I've been approached to have conversations about gender equality and kind of women's issues, and I'm just like, I don't understand how I can represent that. But I can share stories, and you can share stories of your mums and your sisters and your siblings and different people within the different community. But it's quite interesting. Who have you got coming up?
Well, who have I got? Well, firstly, I wanted to invite my husband. Now, I know that sounds hilarious, but when he gets interviewed on TV with me, he ends up sounding like a sports pundit, and there's no one knows me better than that boy. And so he's my first one, because I think it will help you understand how I tick. Because he will really dig deep, and he will poke the bear until she bites him. So that will be my first. I've got a wonderful woman who actually knows you guys as well, a lady called Emma Brown, and she has a child with disabilities, and she wants to talk about that because she teaches fitness, she runs a business, she works very hard. She's gone through a lot in her life, and she just wants to talk about her journey. And then, of course, you're going to meet Pat, my trusty Pat, and you'll see the dynamic between the pair of us. So that we've got a long list of people that are coming from all different backgrounds that want to talk about what they do and how they make an impact in the world. And I'm going to add here, the people that I'd like to come onto the show are people that are really shining in their own power. So this isn't about fame, it's about these thriving, amazing people that have really done some really cool things in their lives, no matter how big or small, but it's been impactful.
Well, you kind of think, what type of topics? So thinking about the guests and those people, because everyone's gone through, especially this year, everyone's gone through an incredible journey through their own internalized mental well-being, and then how to understand how they can support themselves and support others. What type of other topics will you be introducing? You're talking about menopause and mental well-being. What other topics will you be talking about?
Well, when we loosely talk about mental well-being, actually stress is a huge part of my work, and stress is a huge part of living today. So we do cover that subject, and the mental health and the mental wellness score that sits around that as well, because there's still that denial around people not understanding around mental illness. But actually, we all have mental health. It's on a scale, and we really want to address that and try to normalize that conversation. But mental wellness is really important, keeping people vibrant and buoyant, and seeing the markers. So this isn't about being clinically diagnosed. This is around what brings you joy, and how can we encourage that? And, you know, it's the small things in life, isn't it? It's the bumblebees on my hibiscus flowers, because I'm a terrible gardener and I love gardening, but I'm terrible at it, and the small joys that I get are really very good for my mental wellness. It's those type of things.
My mum spends all of her time out in the garden. She adores it. I think we keep on getting like broccoli sprouts and like hibiscus flowers and kind of like cabbage in every single day. It's just incredible to be out and being able to be out in the sun.
Yes, I know, isn't it? Well, it's great to see you on the sofa in the garden, by the way. I wasn't sure if we'd have a good enough signal to do that today for my garden. I'm very proud of my garden. It's very pretty. It's bumblebee friendly. And my friend was saying to me the other day, my husband joked and said I must spend about £10 a week on seeds, nuts, grubs and things for all the creatures in my garden, because I've got 2 hedgehogs that come in and visit. They actually come into my bedroom, and I'm very excited about my hedgehogs. And he complained and said, why are you spending all that money on feeding the animals when it's their instinct? But actually, we've taken up their neighbourhood in this house. So I'm helping them out, and I want them to come into my garden, and I just have so much joy.
What I was about to say is it's more about as well you as well, isn't it? It's kind of the joy that they bring you, and kind of, oh my goodness, that they've trusted me to come into my house to be able to do that. That's really cute.
I know. So on the other side of me, you asked me questions about type of thing we're going to talk about. In one of my other roles, I'm a trustee for the Women's Centre in Bodmin.
Okay, amazing.
And we love. I love them. It's really good for me to give something back and be a trustee and support women in a formal role. So there will be some quite interesting and sensitive subjects that will come from the Women's Centre, because it's had a 200% increase in being reached during lockdown. Yeah. And you know, it is a place of refuge, support and signposting. It is doing some wonderful things there. And again, you know, it crossovers to so many things that Chaos talk about. There are so many wonderful subjects that we will engage with, and some you know, we just want to shine a light on what is really going on in Cornwall and how we can make a difference.
So what do you think are the biggest challenges that are happening in not just only the Women's Centre but for women in Cornwall?
Well, there's still the huge gender pay gap to start with. And that is still a big, yeah.
There was a big piece of research that I did when trying to support and understand this. And obviously it's 103 years ago since women got the vote, which is ridiculous, but that should have happened before that. But when you look at the gender pay gap, the expectation of laws don't change society. There was a bit of research to say that it's expected for it to be another 100 years for there to be total pure gender parity in pay, which blew my mind. Why is that still there?
I know, well, it's patriarchal society, we know that, and there's still a whole bunch of old-fashioned rituals that still go on, even down to what to wear. And I tell you, I went to a women's conference in London 3 years ago, and there were 110 women in the room. Many of them were coming from blue chip organisations and big businesses, a lot of law. And, you know, it's really interesting. It was this whole panic about what the hell do we wear? I kid you not. Most women in that room wore black, grey or navy suits. I wore a navy dress and bright red shoes. And I was up on the stage talking to them, and they are told to wear heels in the office. They're told what to dress, what is appropriate, what is inappropriate. A bright pink shirt under a blue blazer is not appropriate in some of the law firms. It's like, wow. But why? So, you know, it even comes down to what to wear, and that's just in the workplace, let alone, you know, we're going into that conversation around sexual harassment in the workplace. So there are some big fat subjects.
Talking about that, actually, so kind of thinking about the workplace and having conversations with so many women about this, that sometimes it feels like you have to dress masculine to be able to, and almost act masculine to progress within the workplace. And by the sounds of it, you're saying that actually that they are told you have to do this, you have to do that, and actually kind of the synergies across so many environments that you're not allowed to be you, which is crazy.
Yeah, I have an in-law. A female in-law who was previously head of HR for a massive British organisation that is involved with aerospace. And she said that, even in her role, and she'd like to think she is a female empowering, but basically they're recruiting alpha females. So, for all this conversation around soft skills, they're still looking for women who have got those masculine and alpha male traits to lead organisations. And, well, what's that about? It's like, surely, and this is when it really sits strong with you as well. It takes all colours to shape a business and to create a beautiful, seamless working organisation. So, creating the same type, all you're going to do is just create the one breed of people, right? And
the
you need
kind of, like for example, in sales environments, there are so many sales environments that are purely just blokes, and I've heard and spoken to some people that have gone into these sales environments as women or as gay men, as for example, and the commentary that is still there, that is undeniably and disgracefully sexist, is horrific. And then the only way, for example, I've seen a lady that actually progressed through this sales environment and could only feel like that they could do this by engaging in that type of conversation that you just, to be fair, maybe you'd have that with some of your friends, but it would be really cute and kind of cliche, but it wouldn't be in a ridiculously derogatory way. And how can that still happen, and why does that still happen in this way?
I think we fear standing out, and which is part of the reason why we're putting our hat in the ring around Women's Hour. But we don't want to stand out. We don't want to be that person who is Marmite. We want to be liked. So the only way to be liked is to try and fit in and actually mold into the environment around us, instead of saying, actually, no, that's not right. We can't behave like that, and we certainly can't say the things that we say. It's just wrong. So. And I think that this is what's really nice, certainly in the last 5 years for me, I've kind of broken free of that, and I've almost encouraged to dial it up. So it's okay to stand out, right or wrong. It is okay to say no. And actually what happens is when you start stepping up, people start stepping up with you. So it's okay to go, I'm just not satisfied with what I'm hearing. Why isn't anybody else questioning this? And oh, sod it, I'm going to do it. And that's what happens. So, and consequently, we've attracted a whole bunch of amazing, authentic women that are starting to feel the same and going, no, enough is enough. We are not, we won't tolerate it anymore. So here I am.
Absolutely incredible. I think we've touched on this a little bit, but are there any specific topics that are very, very, very close to your heart at the moment, which we will expect from Women's Hour?
Oh, close to my heart. Well, I think there's a bit around my own story, and that is I'm not a bad-looking female, and so I like to share my story because I think people think my life has been handed on a plate. So, and that's not been the case. I've worked hard and have had some tremendous highs and a great life, but I've had some terrible lows and suicidal and suffered with severe anxiety and depression. So I've had quite a tough time, but I kind of want to share that and normalise some of that. And I think, and when I talk about normal, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in women's lives that they think they are alone, and we want to talk about those subjects, particularly around aging, because your looks don't last forever, but your experience does, and
we try,
many women.
We try.
Yes, yeah. There are so many women out there that actually have lost their confidence, and they think they're in isolation. They think they're on their own. So we're really excited to share stories because they're not alone. I run a Facebook group called Menopause Muse. And it's shocking. It's shocking the amount of women that are on that group that tell stories and they go, oh my God, this is what's happened to me. And then suddenly everybody else jumps in and go, oh yeah, me too. Oh, me too.
Wow.
And then you realise that you're not alone. And that is a really important message that, it's ridiculous. 51% of the population and a fair chunk of those women feel they are in isolation with the way they feel, the way they experience life, and the way they feel they're coping in the workplace. So, yeah, that's the big part of what I will be sharing. Menopause, if anybody knows me, you know that I'll be beating my drum, because menopause isn't just a hot flush. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes in it. And then I'm thinking, what else is on my soapbox, Pat? I'm looking over to my colleague over there. You're going to meet her next time. What's my big soapbox?
Getting everybody moving.
Getting everyone moving. Oh my God, I kick everybody's backsides around moving.
I probably should have.
Body confidence.
I probably definitely should have come to you before I started doing the running, because I was beaten up halfway through all of that.
But you were magnificent. You know, I actually woke up thinking about you the other night. It was a strange one, I must admit. But yeah. But well done you. That was terrific.
It was an incredible journey, and one that Nathaniel probably doesn't want to do again, but I think we are considering doing something at some point. How can people get involved with Women's Hour and reach out?
Oh, definitely Q&A. God, we love a Q&A. Contact us for the time being. Contact me at helen@icareimove.com. So email questions, but we also, if you contact us, that's the best place. Find us via info@icareimove.com or helen@icareimove.com. I have a Facebook group called Menopause Muse. Menopause Muse. It is female only, and that is about a place of safety, because some of the subjects that come up in our women's only group are actually questions that they don't want to be. They feel like it's a safe place because some of the subject is around men, so it's important for them to feel safe and not bombarded with a whole bunch of other stuff. So Menopause Muse, contact us there. Like I say, some of our stuff is very grown up and very serious, but actually we have fun, and life is to be lived, and it's all about just being fabulous, right? And so that's kind of another place where you can contact us. I'm everywhere. If you like Google Helen Tite with an E, you'll find me. I know it makes you chuckle, but I can't. If somebody phones me up and says Helen Tite or Helen Tite, I'm like, I'm done.
I've got some comments here from the studio. I'll tell you that now.
Absolutely fabulous. Thank you, Helen. Tite?
Tite. It's hilarious, isn't it?
I love it. Goodness, no, the amount of time. My name, yeah. Helen. Let's. That's a completely different subject for a different day.
Have I got time to tell you my real story about my name?
Oh.
I'm going to go.
No, maybe next week. Sorry, I'm being told.
Okay.
Women's Hour starts next week on Chaos TV. I think we're going to, fabulous. I think we're going to go to some music.
Right, lovely.
Next month.
Oh, next
lovely
month.
Speak.
Yes. Soon. We're coming soon. But there'll be loads of chat about it.
Fabulous. We're going to go to pubs and some music, I think.
Today.
Oh.
It's all madness out there, I think. Yeah, we'll play some music. Thank you very much. Had a lovely having you on, and thank you both, obviously, for that lovely segment. It was brilliant.